And good morning. Thankful Thursday. Dave of the AM, the Cornbread Man. Welcome to the show as we broadcast live from the banks of the Southern Fried Patriot River as it gently flows through the state of Georgia into parts unknown. Happy Thursday before Christmas. The countdown begins until those festivities. The weather is warmer, it is much nicer. I am happy about that, and I'm glad to be here. I have today and tomorrow to work, and then I'm off for a bit. We're going to get some things done. I hope you were able to join us last night for the racing show and the sports show. Had a good time with Dean and Laugh Monday or Laugh Wednesday. And from that one, it was Laugh Wednesday always. And we have a lot of fun with that. Look, hey, Broski, good morning to you and to all others that may be tuning in. We appreciate you stopping by. What a blessing it is. It's a day to be thankful. Thankful Thursday. And I can tell you there's much to be blessed. Good morning to you as well, Broski. It's a blessing to be blessed. Yeah, it is the Cornbread Morning Show. I was telling a group yesterday. I was at their plant, was doing the audit. And I was telling them my name was they could call me Cornbread. They said, "Oh, we're not going to call you that." I said, "No, it's a badge of honor. I love it." Thank you to Angry Conservative 1981 for giving me that. Those kind of things just happen. I'm also went by the handle Dave in the AM. I still use that, but I like the Cornbread Man, and it's a lot of fun. So hey, it's a good day to be alive, right? The alternative is to not be alive, and I'm happy to be alive and to be here. And sorry, I missed a couple of morning shows. Had to peel out of town really early yesterday to get to the audit. It's about almost an hour away from where I live, so had to do a little bit of driving, and so I had to have some time to do that, and I was a little late because I was crunching time to get some kids to school that don't have a way and just trying to help them out. And, I just said, hey, listen, I'm not going to be there for the opening meeting, but I'll be there for the audit. So they were nice about it. They understand things happen. Well, today is National Day. Today is National Twin Day. They say everybody has a twin in the world. Everybody has somebody that looks like them. And I believe it to be true. I do. If I don't say whether it's identical or not, it is close enough that it fools people into believing that you are somebody else. I've had this happen a number of times in weird ways. One time I was told that I was a police officer in a town that's about 45 minutes away from where I live, and or I think even the chief of police. And I said, no, that's not me. The guys were looking at me. Good morning, Watchman. The guys were looking at me like, you're a police officer. I said, no, I'm not. So I was told I was a police officer. I went into a store one night. This is back when I had my beard. I had a ball cap on many years ago, and a clerk at a convenience store, thought that I was her brother from Kentucky. I said I would never be mistaken for somebody's brother from Kentucky. Just kidding. But she said I had the same look, the same voice inflection. Everything was the same. I showed her my driver's license, and she said, I can't believe it. She said, you are the spitting image, everything of my uncle. So apparently, sadly, there's somebody like me running around Kentucky. We're about the same age. I was told there was somebody lives in the town right next to me. I think they mistaken me or something. But anyway, they claim there's another me running around in a town nearby. But I've had this happen a number of times. And so it is National Twin Day. If you have a twin, that's cool. But it is funny. I don't know. I have mistaken people before for other people. I think because if they were standing side by side, you would probably notice differences, maybe slightly, but it's enough that it really messes with people. And they will say that, I narrowed it down that at least five people, people say that they look like me, and one of them, they say we sound exactly the same. So that's a little scary. But and I've never met these people. That's the funny part. I've never met those people. Can you imagine walking in a store? Good morning. Hey, Ryan. Can you imagine walking in a store and you walk up and you're looking at yourself? That would be a wild. So National Twin Day today, December the 18th. It is the National Roast Suckling Pig Day. I don't know if I like the sound of that, but it is the National Roast Suckling Pig Day. It is also the regifting day, the Thursday before Christmas. Is this like where you already get a gift and you regift it, like you decide, oh, I'm not keeping that. I'm going to make this a gift for somebody else. They have cloned Cornbread Man. That's sad. That is truly sad that they have cloned me. Oh my gosh. Hey, at least it wasn't a girl. At least they didn't say, hey, there's a girl that looks a lot like you. So National Regifting Day. And I like this one. This is my favorite one today. Answer the telephone like Buddy the Elf Day. I could do this. Oh man, I do like that movie. I think it was hilarious. I've watched it many times. I haven't seen it this year. I need to watch it, but I'll watch it before Christmas. I promise. Easy Uncle. I like it. But my granddaughter always says, I like that part where they got the little, I forget what it's called. Hey, bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad. That's my favorite line of the whole movie. But I do like that. But to answer the phone like Buddy the Elf, I think that's a winner. If you could do that at work, that would really mess with people. They'd be thinking they're calling you and you did that. I don't know if I could pull it off. I think I would start laughing. But yeah, so do that today. You'll be right in line with National Answer the Telephone like Buddy the Elf Day. I like that. Where are they getting these made up holidays? They got it out of their, well, it's probably all somebody who's connected. They come up with some way to keep that, in the, out there in front of everybody, which they don't have to on this one. But yeah, there's always like 4 or 5 every day. There's at least through the week there is national days. And I didn't realize, I always thought there was one per day, but no, there's several because they keep adding them. So I guess they add extra so that you will find one that you like. Because, I don't, National Roast Suckling Pig Day, that just doesn't sound like something I would be, it doesn't sound good anyway. Twin Day, that doesn't fit everybody, but I could get into the regifting day. I think probably we've all regifted something, the ugly sweater, the socks that wouldn't fit or you don't like them or whatever, or the ties. I have never regifted the tie, but there was a couple of times I got a tie and I was like, isn't really my color, but I will wear them. There's some ties you only wear on certain days, and it's usually holiday themed ties and stuff. I'm not really big on that, but one time somebody got me a tie and it was, I think it was, I don't know, Halloween or something. I was like, I could never wear this, but maybe one day of the year. But I did wear it. I didn't regift it. And it also had music that played. You pushed a button and it would light. It was one of those novelty ties. And I thought, I can't wear this nowhere. I'll wear it around the house, just messing with my grandkids. But that's those today. Well, let's look at birthdays. It is Billie Eilish, or how do you say her name? She's 23 today. I don't listen. I've heard her sing. I remember Rush selling tires on TV. Well, I think they could do it. I think Rush could sell anything, really. 23 today. Brad Pitt is 61 years old today. I didn't realize that we were almost the same age. Christina Aguilera, 44 years old today. And I didn't realize that Stone Cold Steve Austin and me are exactly the same age. It is his birthday today. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Can't do the wrestling ring like he used to. Oh, ties. I'm sorry. I looked at it wrong. It's early, man. I didn't even have my coffee yet. DMX passed away in 21. Rapper. Yeah, that's the way it goes with rappers, right? They all die. They die fairly early, They don't usually live a long life. Some of them have. Who else? I saw a couple of more of interest. Yeah, Steven Spielberg is 78. Made a lot of movies, and Ray Liotta. Yeah, he passed away a couple 3 years ago. His birthday today as well. Shout out to all these folks in their memory or whatever. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you. Unfortunately, you're so close to Christmas that you get cheated on your birthday. You get cheated on it. If you are too close, you just never get the right proper birthday gift. They'll say this is for your birthday as well. So that'd be like, having it on Christmas Day. You're going to get cheated a gift. There's no way. There's just no two ways about it. You need to be. I'm in May. My birthday's in May, so it's far enough apart that it's okay. Phil Rudd and Cliff Williams both had birthdays last week. Okay, they're both still kicking and doing well. This day in history, the Pilgrim's historic landing was in 1620 was today. Boy, they set off something, didn't they? Oh, the Nutcracker Ballet debuted on this date in 1892. I didn't realize it had been around that long, to be honest with you. And the nuclear plant goes online in 1957. Well, I bet people are thinking it was the end of the world. And the Supreme Court forced the end to the Japanese internment this date in 1944. And in 1915, President Woodrow Wilson got married. Happy for him. That was a long time ago. He's not one, when you look back at presidents, he's not one that you typically hear much about. Some of them don't even, some say it was really bad. But if you look back, Woodrow Wilson, not one that really stands out except for a couple things. And you have to really be in tune with history to even really know that. It's just not. But if you're in Cartersville, Georgia, there is a place called the Booth Western Art Museum. Booth, Booth, Booth Western Art Museum. It is a fantastic place to visit. They have a wonderful artwork they have artwork for a lot of obviously Western scenes. They have an old stagecoach in there, what it would look like. They have Booth, but they have in there, they call it the President's Room. And it's all the president's photographs, in order. And it's kind of neat. I mean, to be honest with you, you have everything in a room. And if you wanted to teach kids about the history of the presidents, you walk them in that room. It's a great place to do it. They have a room that's just Civil War art pieces, and some of the really good ones that do some of the really good artwork from the war, recreations, obviously. I mean, it's wonderful. And even my grandkids who I took down there, they thought they were going to be bored to death. They loved it. They really said, this was fun, Papa. We enjoyed it. It took me a minute to get them into it, but once they got into it, they really did. But it's called the Booth Western Art Museum, and it's right there in Cartersville, Georgia. It's really a treasure that is right there. It's about an hour away from me. And they were. Germans were put in concentration camps in the USA. In fact, right near where I live, it's not there anymore, but where the Kmart used to sit, I was told that was a prison camp. Now, we have in the National Cemetery in Chattanooga, there are German graves of those that died while they were being held here. They are buried at the National Cemetery. And you can go there and see some of those graves as you walk through. Hello, good morning to you. How you doing today? Thanks for stopping by there on the YouTube. A lot of YouTube folks stopping in. Rumble, we appreciate you. I do remember you. Thanks for being here. And we appreciate you stopping by. But yeah, that's some of the stuff that happened on this day. So, it's a lot of people will start traveling. It won't be a few more days. A lot of people will be traveling. The gas prices are absolutely really good right now. In fact, and I'm in one of those clubs yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I got 30 cents off of the price. So I got gas for $2.18. So it was really nice to get that kind of price. So if you're traveling a little bit, that should help to get, I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but gas prices are down and that helps. And so the weather's a little milder. Hopefully that will help your energy bills and everything. They didn't have Olympic-sized swimming pool theaters like the German camps in Poland. No, they didn't have that. No, Watchman, they didn't have that. This one was fairly, I think, very rude. Just was very basic that they had. I don't think it was like a long-term thing. It was a temporary holding facility, and I think there was a couple in our area that they held Germans in during the war. And then, like I said, some of them just died natural causes while they were in prison, and they were buried there. Well, thank you for that. But I love history. Some people don't like it. I like history. I like to look through history. You learn from history. When you go into a town, if you'll study graveyards, you can absolutely kind of tell what's kind of happened there. You can through the history of just the graves. You can tell when disease swept through. You will see groups of people all died in the same year, especially children back in the day. It tells the story of a place. And in talking about a place, I always liked to give a shout out. And today I'm going to give a shout out to Pleasant Hill, Kentucky. Pleasant Hill, Kentucky. I've been to many towns in Kentucky. Hello there from Twitch. Appreciate you stopping by. I am doing wonderful. How you doing? Doing good. Pleasant Hill, Kentucky. A lot of hills in Kentucky. It's a beautiful place. I've preached in some areas of Kentucky. I like going there, but it's been a few years since I have. But, a shout out to you in Pleasant Hill. How are you doing today? God bless you, your town. And, we have, if a man had the time to be able to travel through the highways and byways of the United States of America, there are so many wonderful little quaint towns that you could go through and just have a good time. And the uniqueness of a little town. I don't like the cookie cutter towns. That's what happened with strip malls. Strip malls, well, good. I'm glad. Cool Joe. I'm glad you're doing good. These little towns that have their own unique things. That's what I like to see. You might. I was traveling through a small town in South Georgia. I forget even which town it was now, but it was the hometown of Ty Cobb, and they had the Ty Cobb Museum there. And you go through these little towns, and every one of them's got a sign, and they will say the name of the town. They'll say home of, and they'll give you a couple things that they have. Stay hydrated. Well, I'm going to try my best, brother, in the right way. Right now, it is the Cup of Champions. It is, yes, Wolf Nation coffee, and this is the breakfast blend. We just relabeled those Wolf Nation, and it's still the same great coffee. And that's what I'm drinking this morning. Got to have my coffee. Yesterday, I think that I went to the audit. They didn't have coffee in the room we were at, and you had to go downstairs, down to a break room and get coffee. And I thought, I'm not doing it. So I didn't even drink a cup of coffee till last night in the studio. Okay, that's where I grew up, Royston, Georgia, going there today. I wish I would have had time to stop and go through the museum, but I have said I want to go back. That's my goal, is to go back and go through the museum. Broski, I've always loved history as well. Most don't realize people were the same 3,000 years ago as they are today. Absolutely. But it is fascinating to go through the small towns. And, unfortunately, a lot of small towns have been taken over by nail salons, what else? Title pawns. I mean, it's turned into something we didn't want, But in the little town that I'm not in the city limits, but in the little town that I'm next to, used to at Christmas time, we would go down and all the little shops would have Christmas scenes. And that was, back when I was a kid, that was big entertainment, going to town and looking at the Christmas scenes. They usually have little moving robots and stuff, the Santa would move, the sleigh would move a little bit. That was a big time. Also down in Chattanooga would do that. Ty Cobb has a mausoleum where my son is buried. Okay. Interesting history there. Royston, Georgia. I need to go back there. So how far is that from, say, Athens, Georgia? How far is Royston from Athens? Watchman, I was curious. But yeah, I was traveling through. I was coming back. I think I was coming back from Florida. I was taking some back road. I don't even remember what road it's on, but I was just taking some highways, traveling through. And I went, oh, man, I didn't have time to stop. That's the sad part. When you're traveling and you don't have time to stop at a place, I remember the very first vacation movie, right? He's planning out all these stuff and all the kids are like, yeah, we don't want to see all this stuff. But that was kind of everybody's dad had something. They're like, we're going to go here, kids, and we're going to see this. Oh, not far, 30 to 45 minutes. Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back to Athens because I want to go back. I wanted to go back down, and I want to take my son and me. We want to come down and go back down to the campus bookstore there at UGA, and we'll just make a side trip and go there when we do that, because that's something we want to do. I think I was probably on Highway 29, if I remember right. I think that's probably it because what I was doing was cutting over to another highway, and I think I was just following GPS or something. I don't remember, but wherever I had been, I can't even remember where I'd been. Man, I've been all over the states of Alabama, Georgia, Florida, going preaching at churches and stuff, as well as North Carolina, South Carolina. I was all over those states. But and they're not even there though anymore, right? Watchmen, I mean, they're gone. I mean, those things were destroyed. The Georgia Guidestones or Guildstones, whatever they were destroyed. I mean, they've been torn down, right? They're not even there. But Georgia's a fascinating state. I just looked up on Royson's Google Maps, and the Taco is the third pick that pops up. Okay. Well, hey, you're a town. You got something to be proud of. It's, your native son. You got the museum there, and or whatever. They got, go there and check it out. but yeah, go check out the things of a town. They're proud of it. Hey, I want to go see and hey, listen, some people say he was a bad dude. Some people say he was a good dude. You know what? Great people have both sides, but Buford Pusser, I've always wanted to go back to Savannah, Tennessee, and go to the Buford Pusser Museum. I've actually talked to them by email. COVID came along at one time. I was about to go, and COVID came along. They made everybody shut down. I think it's still open. I always wanted to go back out there. When we were there, I think they were closed. It was just a time of day they weren't open. And I said, I got to go back. So that's been on my list to do's because I've never been there. I would like to go. Watchman said, we used to go to his grave after playing baseball. There's a box inside you can put a dime and hear Ty Cobb recording of him. Now, that's dang cool. Oh, I wonder what he says. Hear Allah? I mean, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. That's funny. If you were buried and you had a box and you could put a recording of you, what would you say? Hello, world. Oh, yeah, they did, broski. They're gone. Somebody ran into them or blew them up. I don't remember the whole story now, but they definitely did that. And I was going to go out there too. That's what is the name of that town? Golly, I looked it all up. I was going to head out there. I was going to do a run of some cities I've been wanting to go visit, and I mean I could still go there, but I never saw. They're not going to be there. I've been meaning to take a run over to Blue Ridge, Georgia, as well. Got some folks over there I want to have lunch with and kind of look around. I've never actually been all the way into Blue Ridge. He probably cusses you out. Well, as Ty Cobb would, I could see that. Kind of rough around the edge character, He didn't play no sissy game. He was a tough guy. They built him a little different down here in Georgia. But hey, well known Hall of Famer. Ever go to the little Shoeless Joe Museum in Greenville? I have not. I never got to spend a lot of time in Greenville when I was there. I usually was in and had to be right back out. I didn't get time to. I did say I've never been actually to the Blue Ridge. I've never been, believe it or not. It's a beautiful area. There's some camping to do over there, a lot of lakes. And actually, the lady that built our website, they're a media group over there, and they're good conservative folks. And her husband has a weekly podcast that he does. And I used to watch it a lot. I just haven't had time lately, but he does a weekly podcast or daily, about 3 hours long, 2 or 3 hours long. Um, I used to play Cool Joe. I used to play. I actually been watching some games. I just like to join in and watch a little bit now. I don't have time, but if I had time, I wouldn't mind doing it a little bit. Uh, yeah, so much history of our country there. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's what I said. You could, if you were retired, you could spend the rest of your life just traveling through the states of these great United States, and you would never run out of places to visit. So, Cool Joe, do you play? Games? There's a guy I watch. He's a military guy. A lot of ex-military play games on Rumble. Fighting. I like to watch them. I watch some of the games that they play, and there's a part of me wants to get in our play sometimes, but man, you can lose track of time playing games, man. I'm telling you, I used to play a lot. Used to years ago. A bunch of us worked together and we would play games uh, online. And this is before the days of all the cool microphones and talking to each other. Okay, got you. It was way before way before that. I We had to type all of our answers in. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, cool, man. Sometime I need to do. I've been meaning to do a Twitch only live anyway. I need to come over there and tool around, raid a channel, and see watch you play or something. But I do like watching. I watched. There's a guy on Rumble called Sergeant Wilkie, and he's friends with another creator I know, or they're online friends. And I watched him and his group play one night for about an hour while I was doing some podcast work. I just had it on one of the screens and had the headphones on listening to them. It was funny as I'll get out. Just listening to them, they were quite comical. They've got a fun group, but that's you served in the military, you were in war zones and stuff. You kind of miss the adrenaline of it. It's a way to do that, but that's a big draw. I mean, Call of Duty, Fortnite, different ones that they play. I just haven't done it in a long time. I've played a little bit of everything online. From medieval type games all the way up to Star Wars and stuff like that back in the day. Star Wars was frustrating because you were constantly mining, crafting, building. I get doing some of that, but come on. Most times you just want to get in and start fighting. Grow as you fight. Do a little bit of that, but it's when that's all you're doing, it's the hours go by and you're like, why am I doing this? I got a life to live. Like I've got, it's like tell the kids, oh, I can't come play. I've got to mine another field here. Like, not living. But hey, each their own. If that's what you want to do, that's all cool, and I like it. But it's just a lot of. There's a lot of. I mean, that's big. That is absolutely huge. The gaming market is absolutely huge. And I remember going back when I got my first computer, I was looking at games. I had a number of friends that played, and I got some early versions that were not online. I just played them on my computer, and one of those was Star Wars. Star Wars. It wasn't. It was an offshoot. But I played some games, sports games and stuff like that too. D. Dallas was from Royston too. He was on a billboard with Ty Cobb. He was a quarterback for the Air Force Falcons. He graduated as NCAA's all-time leading rusher for a quarterback. That's interesting. I didn't know that. And so they were on the billboard together. How cool. Royston. What is Royston named after? I bet it's a person, right? It's always a person usually. Who's the famous person Royston? There used to be a baseball player that was named, was it Jerry Royston that played for the Atlanta Braves? I don't know if it's spelled exactly the same. You went to school with him. Oh, okay. Very nice. Well, that's a nice thing to have. So, does that still stand, that record? or is it just when he graduated? Because there's been a lot of running quarterbacks now. Back, many years ago. I mean, well, if you go back, they all ran because you ran you know, that the that was a big offense for a lot of college teams, but and especially Air Force. Yeah, I could see that. My mom went to school with a guy that later became a U.S. senator. She'd always say, "I went to school with him." I said, "Did y'all hang out?" She goes, "No, I just went to school with him. He became famous, and I got married." Bill Bradley, I think that was Bill Bradley. I think he was a senator, right? Mom would always talk about that. Well, don't we say that? Like, oh, I went to school with him. Did you ever talk to him? Well, no, I just went to school with him. Oh, sometimes it's the person you didn't think would be successful that turns out being successful, and other times it's the person who you thought would. They're not. They bomb out. You know, I don't. Asada saw Todd Cobb had D's name on it. Okay. Well, yeah, when you're driving by, sometimes you don't notice everything that's on a sign, but I do remember seeing the sign. Man, that has been a number of years ago. Oh my gosh. That goes all the way back probably to about 2007 or 8 when I would have been traveling through there. 7, 8, or 9, somewhere in there. That's how long ago that's been. But you don't forget. Royston is named after a prominent local family, specifically W.A. Royston, a local merchant. Probably was the guy they kind of started, he owned 2 or 3 stores. That guy. I was talking to a guy just last week, and he was telling me there's a little town my granddaughter's family kind of comes from, or at least has lived at for a number of years or around. And he was telling me there's a guy there. He has 3 or 4 businesses in the town, and he runs the town basically. He keeps out other businesses that would threaten his. He owns like a Piggly Wiggly store and 2 or 3 other businesses in town, and he's the dude. He's the guy that basically runs the town. Royston was named in his honor when the first post office opened in 1878. So it goes back a long way. Salute to Mr. Royston, W.A. That was a big thing back in the 1800s, the whole initials. If you look back at my family tree, my great, I'm trying to think how many greats. 1, 2, second grade, I think. Great grandfather was named G.W., George Washington. That's what he was named. And if you go back to his daddy, he was B.W., Benjamin Washington. My grandfather was the last one that really did this. He was A.W., Andrew Washington. I don't know. It was a thing. I don't know why it stopped, but it was a big deal. And all of them had Washington as the middle name. And then when for some reason, I think it was GW's son that I'm directly in line with. He's Lee Cordell. He stopped it. It never picked up again. But my grandfather, I take that back. Lee was, and then his son was AW. That's right. So it stopped with my grandfather. My dad was not, none of his kids did he do like that. And there was no, there was no initials anymore. But to me, it was just my grandfather. But everybody called him AW, Andrew Washington, which is cool. I think it's cool. It's kind of a neat family thing, but I never thought about doing it. And also, I think in some of the cousins, there was the same thing. And I think it's an English kind of thing because that side of the family comes from England. And if you go back, I mean, that's where the Benjamin Washington, all that, it goes way further back than even, they obviously, they named them after presidents and stuff and other famous people, but this goes all the way back to England. So it was those initials, people being called by their first and middle name initials was very common, I guess, from England. I don't know, kind of different, but I never thought about doing it. But BW, AW, GW, George Washington, Andrew Washington, Benjamin Washington. Oh, There was one of the first Coca-Cola bottling plants that was in Royston back then. They, yeah, that was way back. That made them want it. All right, cool, Joe. Oh man, I got to do Christmas dinners again today. Christmas dinners for the folks. So I'll be going back to the plant tonight. We will have our. It is the plan. It is the plan that we will have our Wolf Nation show tonight. Biscuit Boy in the house, and we're going to be talking about outdoor adventures. And Paul has, I've got some, but Paul has a ton of them. He is the king of outdoor adventures. We'll share some stories tonight on Wolf Nation. I'm not sure what time that's going to kick off, but 6 or 7. I'll have to align with him this today and make sure. But that would be pretty cool. Yeah, there was a bottling plant here in Chattanooga. That was pretty nice. A lot of people made some money off the old Coca-Cola. My grandpa had a gallon jug of that Coke syrup. We were talking about this the other day. Remember when they changed the new Coke and they about killed the company? They never really got the market share back that they had before that. They're still a big company, but Pepsi absolutely made some moves during that time. And now it's a neck and neck battle between the two. But when they went new Coke, that was one of the biggest marketing mistakes ever by a company. And if they hadn't have switched back when they did, the company would have ceased to exist. That's how bad that move was. Whoever came up with that idea, obviously career was over, I would think. New Coke, new recipe. Everybody hated it. I mean, really, I will guarantee you they had to throw away a lot of that stock because nobody was buying it. Nobody wanted it. You're an animator yourself by profession. Cool. That is cool. I love to be around talented people. I have none. I'm just a dude that gets online. I don't have any talents. I just do it. Yeah, I have both, man. Yeah, give me a holler, man, on Instagram, man. Southern Fried Patriot _ between Southern and Fried and excuse me, podcast, not Patriot. I got to switch that, but I'm having trouble switching it. But that's what I have on. And my name is David Cordell 7 or David Cordell 62. All those on Instagram. So probably David Cordell 62. We'll say that. That's an easy one to do. So give me a holler there. Yeah, I bet the old grandpa like to have, every grandpa, well, not every grandpa, but a lot of grandpas had the little stash. Okay, I got you, man. All right. Everybody had a little stash of something. My father-in-law knew a guy that used to, he had moonshine. And on the last run, he got killed. And then he had a huge glass container of one of the last run he made. He had one of those. And he had saved that. And he would, every holiday, he would get a little bit of that shine out every holiday. He was a different kind of dude, but I remember that. My buddy found some old Coke bottles made in Royston. Lady offered him $200 a bottle. He had like 4. We were drinking beer, riding around. He threw them out. We searched the bottles. Oh, all that stuff's worth money. We were on the way to sell them. Yeah, David Cordell 62, cool Joe. You can, well, no, it's different. It's Southern Fried Podcast, but it's _ between the Southern and Fried and the Fried and Podcast. So that's the handle on Instagram. We never found them. How sad. We never found them. Drunken tales. There's a lot of that. Well, that's the end of that story. There was a guy that I used to know. He used to buy and sell the old Coke machines, There's a lot of money in it, but it's nowadays it's really hard to get a hold of anything because everybody knows that if it's old, it's probably worth some money. So everybody wants to hold you up. So that market is very hard to do full time. You've got to really be connected. But I will tell you that I talked to a guy down in Ringgold, and he runs a little antique shop. And I asked him, I said, do you go out looking for the stuff? He said, very rarely. He said, usually people pull up and we just negotiate a price. And he said, I know where my price point's at. And he said, I really never look for the stuff. And he had a lot of nice stuff in his shop, and he's been in business for over 20 years. And he said, they come to me. Ever seen the movie Lawless, 2012? It's about bootleg and moonshine brothers in Virginia. Good movie. I don't believe I ever saw that. I don't believe I ever saw that. But if you're bootlegging in Virginia, I'd say it's probably a pretty good movie. I did see, what's the old movie with, oh my goodness, Thunder Road? That's the one that I saw. That's like a 50s movie, ain't it? 50s, 60s. I want to say 50s. Robert Mitchum, wasn't he in that? That's what that's about. Good movie, though. I like that. We are going to put up, we talked about last night. In fact, they already sent it to me. The picture, I'm gonna get it framed. I'm gonna blow it up and for the racing show. Junior Johnson. There is a mugshot of him. He was arrested for, let me pull it up. I think I can show it to you, Dean. Here is the mugshot of Junior Johnson for running shine. Of course, later of NASCAR fame. And there he is as an older gentleman in NASCAR. But that was his mugshot. Busted for the shine. In fact, it says U.S. Alcohol Tax Unit, Wilkesboro, North Carolina. If you can see that, it may not focus in, but that's his mugshot where he was running shine. Clean cut guy. I bet he was a fighter. I bet he didn't take no crap. Best shot I ever had came from Clayton, Georgia. We bought it by the 5-gallon pickle jars. I only ever had shine one time, and that was out of that stash that my father-in-law had. That's the only shine I ever had. You know, nowadays you have to be really careful. I don't drink anymore, and I haven't for 30 years, but people that do, there are so many people that still do that, but it's they put stuff in it. They do it in a way that's not healthy. It could kill you, all kinds of crap stuff. It's just people are looking for a quick buck, and there is really an art to all that. I mean, if you're going to do something, there's an art to it, and you got to do it the right way for it to be right. And it's not anything that you do very quickly. It's usually something that takes a little bit of time. It's like wine. You just don't rush that process. And, some people just get into stuff purely for the money, and they could care less about the art behind it of making it the best it can be, or even being more of a creator, because they would test different things to affect how it was. Yeah, I will, man. I will. Thank you. They don't really take the art form of it, but used to be that. I mean, those people, some of them couldn't read and write, but man, they could make some shine. Oh, all your early TV shows talked about that. If it was some, show like that, Southern especially, because people, it was a big part of everybody knew there were moonshiners around. I mean, up in the hills, the revenuers coming around looking for it. You can test it, flip it, and the bubbles will swirl. If it's bad, the bubbles go straight up. Also, if it's good, it will burn blue, as if it's bad, it will have a yellow in the flame. I didn't know that. We got some expert knowledge here. I think I heard something about that a long time ago, but I sure didn't remember it. One of those. I don't remember if it was the bubbles or the burn. I want to think it was the burn part. There used to be a place in Mont Eagle, Tennessee, and it was an old restaurant, and there was they had this little area, and there was an old moonshiner. They had video of him, and they would show the video where he would talk about making moonshine. He actually showed the process of making it. It was, but that place unfortunately caught on fire, and all that old, they had a lot of antiques and stuff on the walls and stuff. That place burned to the ground. They had cabins weren't burnt, but the restaurant was. This was the restaurant part, and right there on top of Montego Mountain, and you could go up there and go through there, and there was a video of that guy later in life, and he was showing how to make the shine. I mean, it was, and you could buy a book about him and stuff. I hate that all that burned. It was, something neat, kind of touching back in history, and the government was. I mean, honestly, they were against it because why? Because they couldn't tax it, right? I mean, that was probably the main reason in the beginning. Now they would say it's because regulation and it's too strong or whatever. But I mean, I think that's why they come after them, right? Because it wasn't regulated and they weren't taxing it. So the best is made from peaches or apples. Corn is the worst. Interesting. I didn't know that either. Well, like I said, I'm not a connoisseur or a consumer of, and I never was around people that did anything like that. My family was never involved in anything like that. Oh, there might have been somebody extended family that did. I don't say that, but my direct line, as far as I know, they were never involved with anything like that. They shiners we bought it from called it Brandy. It was 200. Good Lord, 200 proof, smoother than anything you can buy in a liquor store. That's interesting. There's a craft distillery in Mount Pleasant, North Carolina called Southern Grace Distilleries, and you can buy their straight corn whiskey before it's put in barrels. It's called Sundog. Pardon me, 130 proof. Interesting. Mount Pleasant, North Carolina. But yeah, that's interesting. That's good enough for me. Bourbon, rye, and tequila. Oh, 200 proof. Good Lord. It don't, it don't take much to get a little blasted at 200 proof. True story here, though. True story. The last time I ever saw that shine, it was I think it was Thanksgiving and family get together. And I'm going to be careful with the names here because I don't want to. Somebody might see this and they might get mad. I think the parties that know about this time, that they're all dead. I don't think there's anybody living. The extended family weren't there. So anyway, and I'm not going to say any names close enough to know who I'm talking about. But there was a person who was most annoying. Most annoying. It was a braggart. Knew everything. And he would just drive you crazy. And we're all sitting together, all the guys getting ready, watching football, talking. And this guy is just, everybody's getting aggravated. It's like, come on. I mean, this guy, and he would argue with you about anything. If you said the grass was 2 inches tall, he'd say it's 2.25. This guy would drive you absolutely batty. And so we're sitting there, and my father-in-law, he has that look in his eye like, I can't put up with this. So he goes in there and he sneaks a little bit of that shine and he brings it in there. And now there were people having a little alcohol. That was back when I still drank, but he slipped him a little bit of the shine. And the guy just, oh yeah. And because he wanted to drink it all and drink it fast to show how tough he was. Well, absolutely. Knocked him out. Like he was asleep, snoring. His wife comes in there and she can't get him raised up. And she's talking about, well, he's been going hard at it. He's worn out. I mean, he's just tired. I just never seen him fall out like that. And it's all we can do is not to laugh. But we were all high-fiving and fist bumping that he got him passed out because he was killing the holiday. I mean, just killing it. We were stuck. We couldn't get rid of the guy, The shine did it. I got drunk once. It was loaded a 357 and all out of my garage, and my ears rang for a month. Well, yeah, I think so. 200 proof sounds like a liver and kidney killer. Well, I would say it would be. A little dab will do you. Best shot I ever had was from this redneck from Ohio who made great apple pie shine. That's the best actual shine I ever had. Apple pie shine. Ohio. That's funny. Like I said, I don't do those things anymore, but being fully, perfectly honest, I did at that time. And, I was, introduced. This guy got killed delivering shine. My understanding is, I don't remember if it was, I think he had a car wreck and kind of burned up or something. He was hauling shine and it burns. So it was like, it was not good. When I was making fiberglass parts for vans and trucks, the boss would make you take a shot of that Clayton shine if you came in sick. Here you go. My dad said they gave him castor oil. You never wanted to say you were too sick to go to school or work in the field. It was castor oil time. So you learned to work and go to school sick. Said, I'm not going to do it. I never had that stuff in my life. After hearing my dad talk about it, I don't think we ever had it in the house because my dad hated it, despised it because he had to take that as a kid. And he said, I think he just forbid it to even be in the house. That was bad memories for my dad. It's like, I don't want nothing to do with that. Oh, yeah, you could smell apples or peach depending on what they use. Oh man, I somewhere today somebody's making shine. Somewhere it's not went away, but like I said, I don't know the old timers that crafted that, learned it from their grandpappy. That's probably few and far between now. A lot of people go back as nostalgia now. They want to go back and do it because it was in their family. They may try to do it right, but today it's just people. They don't care. They're just looking for a buck, and they don't care what they put in it. Like I said, it's it's probably not even good. But I there may be somebody out there. Like I said, nostalgia. There was that show, Moonshiners or whatever it's called. It was one of the reality show. There were actually people in there. I mean, I think that were probably legit that did some of that stuff, and they had passed down you know, passed down through there. There's this push to get back to your roots sometimes, and for some people, that was making shine. So some people have went back to the farming life. Their dad didn't do it. They kind of worked like a factory job or something. But sometimes people, I've met some people like that at festivals and stuff. They they felt like they wanted to get back to the roots of their family, and they went back to growing certain things or raising certain things, and they feel a connection to their past that way, and they feel like they're passing it on for their kids. It wasn't moonshine, but I would say there's a lot of them out there like that. I gave some to this Cherokee chick, and she was spinning head over feet in the passenger seat. The Indians and firewater is true. Well, that's what they said. I didn't know. Sometimes things are TV, um, but yeah. What a discussion today, Sean. See what happens when you start talking about small towns. Now you have moonshine talk. Well, yeah, I wonder, and a lot of times people in those areas, the law overlooked. It was the feds. Remember, it was always the locals were like, they were buying it. They trust me, it's true. They turned their head to that stuff. Either they were getting a cut to turn their head, or it was family, and you just didn't do that because it wouldn't be good for you. That was the feds coming in and busted up a lot of that stuff. And there's a history of all that. I mean, you go back and prohibition and all that. I mean, there's a lot of history in the country to, not being happy with that. Yeah, Joe, sure thing, man. I'm gonna have to go. It is time for me to get the kids to school. It's a short day, I think, for them. Southern Grace Distillery is located in a former prison. How cool is that? It's really cool. They aged certain whiskey in the former solitary confinement hot box. There's one like that in Tennessee as well. They don't do the whiskey or the shot or whatever, but there is one like that. Brushy Mountain, I think. Ain't it Brushy Mountain? Is that it? Anyway, you can go there. You can stay overnight. Yeah, man. Hey, you have a blessed day out there. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you stopping by. Cornbread Man's got to go to work, take some kids to school. It's a short day for them. We'll be back on this afternoon. Have a great and blessed day. I went to the DT Athens and she got in a flower bed in front of the arches and tore the petunias up. Yeah, that was a wild story. If we only had video. Hey, y'all have a blessed day. Get up, pray up, coffee up, and we're really there. So have a blessed day. We'll see you tonight with the Biscuit Boy, hopefully live in studio. So we'll see. It'll be a laugh Thursday. And it's a thankful Thursday. Have a great day. Salute to you. We'll go up with some music. And y'all have made me laugh this morning for sure. I won't be able to. I'm going to be thinking about Ty Cobb, Royston, Georgia, the Georgia Guidestones, and moonshine. I mean, what a. That sounds like the chapters to a book. Oh, in prison. All of that. That's all going to be on my mind today. No telling what's going to shake out of that. I have to write a song. Sound like the start of a good country song. Y'all take care. Oh,